CEO pretended to be a janitor. You won't believe what he found. He walked into the gleaming lobby of his own company dressed in blue coveralls. Cap pulled low, gloves tucked into his belt. That's right, he was the CEO. But today, he wasn't going to sit in the corner office. He was going to sweep floors, empty trash, wash windows, and quietly listen. Because he had lost something powerful: perspective. The company had grown fast. Profits soared, board praises rang out, quarterly numbers glowed. Yet complaints piled in. Employees feel invisible. Management doesn't care. People work here like machines. It wasn't about salary. It was about dignity. So he disguised himself as a janitor for a week to see what respect looked like from the bottom upward. First posse shows him entering break rooms, hearing whispers, crossing paths with people he'd only ever seen in performance reports. He logged every slip of resentment. Not enough bathroom breaks, fear of losing hours, parents skipping lunches to clean up after others. He watched as the actual janitors moved through lunchrooms unnoticed. The receptionist ignored them. A young man tossed fries wrappers in the trash. He said, "Don't worry, boss," assuming the uniform spoke for them. That phrase pierced him. He didn't reveal who he was. He just listened. He wiped counters. He swept crumbs. He collected trash. He held the door for the elderly woman in HR. He said, "Here you go," as though she didn't matter. And she smiled politely. Quiet dignity. Clips from stock visuals can show lobby, uniformed figures, name a tag, blurred silent labor, broken coffee machines, tears saved, respect lost. He discovered a discarded letter in the trash, a heartfelt note from a single mother, janitor to HR complaining about toxic shift changes signed only with hope. That letter became the ember of his whole disguise. Respect is not a perk. It's a right. Identity isn't the badge you wear. It's who you treat as human. Karma is watching soon. The CEO would face truths this garbage. His discarded message never let him forget. If you're watching this, drop your location, city or country in the comments right now. Smash that subscribe button. Let's dig deeper into the truth the CEO uncovered while disguised as a janitor. He followed her. The janitor who wrote the letter, just a step behind as she walked through the warehouse floor in the evening. Blue coveralls, cleaning cart. She hesitated by a row of discarded boxes, eyes darting. He stayed just far enough to be unnoticed. She sighed, reached behind an old pallet shelf, and pulled out a small, dusty photo of 3 kids smiling under a bright sun. She tucked it into her pocket and kept sweeping. He realized then the struggle wasn't about hours, but was about love, about leaving uplifted or weighed down, about unpaid labor disguised as null labor, about lost hope. He followed shifts. He listened to confidences. A dishwasher cried because she couldn't afford daycare. A landscaper whispered she couldn't see her sick mother back home. A security guard said under breath that promotions went to relatives of executives. He realized what respect really looked like. A thank you, a paid sick day, a shift swap without guilt. At midnight, he cleaned a restroom stall and found a phone plugged into a charger. A message pop-up flashed. "Tuesday's daycare will be late again." Next message. My supervisor said, "Your kids, your problem." He rose to flush the phone pocket out, but hesitated. A wave of shame hit him. He placed the phone gently on the sink and left without wiping the mirror. Next day, he connected the janitor's letter to a pattern of HR complaints ignored for months. He tracked spreadsheets, hours docked, requests denied, payroll glitches. He realized the broken system wasn't just inefficient. It was cruel. He spent the evening locked in his office, still in uniform, gathering schedules, mapping shift gaps, noting wage discrepancies. He found her name, Maria Ramirez. 10 years at the company, no promotion, no acknowledgement. Top performers listed all managers, kids, or friends. He was shaking. He glimpsed the camera feed, saw himself disguised, wiping windows near the boardroom. Board members stepped over him. Spin charts on the wall. Quarterly profits. The walls whispered, "At what cost?" He snuck into senior team rounds the next morning and overheard. Executives say employees are replaceable. The numbers matter. He heard applause as VP described how costs could be shaved if we cut janitorial staff and outsource overseas. That's when something in him snapped. He walked into the break room as Maria took off her gloves. He sat next to her, still in coveralls, and offered her a coffee. She flinched. He saw fear. He said softly, "I see you." She paused. "Really?" he added. "I see you." She nodded slowly. Didn't ask questions. Didn't expect truth. Just accepted the gesture. That day, he returned to his office, changed into his suit and tie. Enters his boardroom shaking. Opens with, "We must fix what's broken." He spoke. He demanded audits. He called out executives who ignored employee welfare. He demanded accountability. He backed Maria's complaints. He forwarded her note. He requested paid childcare allowance, shift scheduling transparency, merit-based promotion. Board gasped at first, then murmured, then reached compliance. Then he revealed he'd spent a week walking their halls as the person they overlooked. The photos, the login tags, long shadows on floors tracking every moment. Shock filled the board. Hearts shifted. If you've reached this point, drop your location in the comments, your city, region, or country. Also make sure to subscribe and share your thoughts below. Would you strive to transform a toxic culture or walk away? Over the next week, Charlie the janitor became both witness and keeper of truth. Early mornings, late nights, he scrubbed floors while overhearing executives dismissing hard work. He saw hard-working accountants passed over for promotions because they didn't attend after-work drinks. He saw a developer's brilliant concept ignored because her voice was too soft. He observed Henry, Angela, May, and Terrence, real heroes who held the company up. Henry bridging tech support and cleaning staff. Angela working nights with no overtime pay. May weighed down by doubt. Terrence on the verge of eviction while staying loyal. Meanwhile, the real CEO engaged but invisible, collecting every insult, every inequity, every moment of cruelty, saturated in guilt yet fueled by resolve. By the end of the week, Charlie the janitor locked away more than floors. He locked away the company's moral decay. He logged every detail, every name, every act. And then, he cleaned Maria's cart one afternoon and found a worn gratitude note tucked inside. She wrote, "They intend to ignore us, but we're still seeing." That note delivered resolve like a blow. That evening, Charlie joined break room conversations different. He entered HR logs. He saw overtime unrecorded. He saw reports erased. He saw inequity. By the final day of his disguise, he had every decision maker on his list. Every injustice cataloged. Proof of broken meritocracy. Patterns of neglect. Disrespect rooted deep. He walked into the boardroom at 9 a.m. sharp wearing the CEO's suit. No gloves. No cap, but carrying the weight of his secret week as Charlie the janitor. The room went cold. Board members straightened, whispers filled the air. Executives who laughed, who ignored, who promoted nepotism. They sat in stunned silence. He cleared his throat. "I spent the past week working in your shoes without privilege. Without protection, without notice," he began. "What I learned isn't finger-pointing. It's failure. Not of policies, but purpose." Every eye on him felt the weight of corporate neglect. The mothers without childcare. The employees denied promotions. The HR complaints buried. The cost-saving schemes disguised as ambition. He didn't reveal charts at first. He didn't say, "You failed." He said instead, "Here's what I heard." And he shared stories. Ramsey, the night janitor who slept in his car because his wages delayed 3 days. Priya, the sysadmin, whose exceptional design was ignored because she didn't network with the upper echelons. Michael, the finance clerk who worked through lunch twice, docked pay. He spoke of Maria's letter, the gratitude note she tucked in her cart. The phone message in the restroom and the unanswered emails to HR. The room grew uncomfortable. Some executives shifted. Glasses clinked. Breath held. He then paused. Silence pressed. He said, "I didn't come to blame. I came to rebuild trust." He proposed sweeping changes, childcare support, transparent promotions, anonymous feedback loops, non-punishable sick days, diversity training rooted in human stories. And he attached names: Henry, Angela, real contributors previously dismissed. When he finished, no applause, just stillness. Then Linda, the head of operations, stood. She cleared her throat. "You've given us a life we can't ignore," she said. Her voice cracked. Some board members nodded. Others turned toward the overlooked. Maria, seated at one side, trembling but firm. He smiled at her, real, human, visible. The meeting ended with tentative agreement. The night before, executives argued cutting janitorial staff. At the end of the day, they voted unanimously to restore positions, fund new programs, audit HR, and institute leadership training based in dignity, not just deadlines. Outside the boardroom, he changed back into coveralls just for a moment and walked the hallways again. This time, with eyes met, with nods given. The cleaning staff paused. Some shook his hand. Maria smiled slowly, no longer hidden. Respected. A visible heartbeat in a shiny building. He realized then, respect cannot be mandated, it must be restored. Identity isn't tied to a title, it's tied to treatment. Nearly 2 months have passed since the boardroom confession. The company buzzed differently now. Beneath polished lobbies and spreadsheets, a new heartbeat pulsed. Maria stood in the lobby greeting guests. Clean shirt, ID badge that read, Janitor and Community Liaison. She held her head taller. The corner she cleaned now had her name on the cleaning schedule proudly. Henry led a mentoring session for interns. Priya managed cross-team projects. Angela addressed HR planning. The single mom janitors now had childcare vouchers. Records showed 0 docked pay disputes in 6 weeks. It was transformation not fast, but real. One afternoon, he walked into the lobby suit. No coveralls this time, and saw a toddler asleep in Maria's arms. Maria whispered, "They couldn't find daycare." She stayed late. The child fell asleep while I spray and mop. He knelt down gently. He didn't speak, just smiled, offered to hold the child. Maria let him. And she whispered to her co-worker, "That man, I didn't know he cared." But now I see, that moment became the turning point. Then came the public unveiling of the annual report. Instead of financial charts alone, the report included heartfelt testimonials, stories from employees once ignored. A cleaning cart with Maria's note, the blocked HR emails, graphs tracking wage disparity, the quarterly letters from janitors who no longer feared retaliation. He introduced the report in the annual shareholders meeting. Stockholders, many initially skeptical, softened. Some donated to the community fund. Others urged peer companies to follow suit. Media coverage shifted. Startup CEO redefines respect became the new headline. Then, a whistleblower scandal nearby implicated a struggling rival company. Investors aligned with his company called for him to lead a coalition on ethical employment practices. He agreed, but insisted the first step always be humility, not hype. And the closing moment arrived when he hosted a town hall for every employee. Janitors, HR, receptionists, engineers, interns, executives. He revealed the final act of humility. He invited Maria onto the stage. He handed her the Workforce Excellence Award. He said, "This award wasn't earned by titles. It was earned by resilience, by showing up day after day with excellence in the face of ignorance." She accepted the award, tears shining. She didn't hug him, just nodded. Because respect given doesn't need ceremony. It demands honesty. He turned to the crowd and said, "If you work in this building, you hold value, whether your boots are polished or your shirt is tarnished. Today, I ask you to see each other, to treat each other, not roles, not pay grades. The crowd erupted. Not just in applause, but in respect. Moral of the story? Respect isn't a luxury, it's the foundation. Identity isn't granted by role, it's earned in how we treat one another. Karma isn't about punishment, it's a mirror. Thank you for staying with this journey. Drop your thoughts below. Have you ever been overlooked? Because of your uniform or underestimated? Because of your title? Can true empathy come from truly walking a mile in someone else's shoes? Tell us where you're watching from.